Imagine waking up tomorrow morning, checking your bank account, and seeing that your employer has doubled your salary. Not a bonus, not a promotion with a small raise. Your income has literally doubled overnight. How would your life change? Most people believe they already know the answer. A bigger house, a newer car, better vacations, designer clothes, private schools, luxury watches, more comfort, more freedom, more happiness. Because we've been taught one idea since childhood, that earning more money automatically leads to becoming wealthy. But what if that's one of the most expensive beliefs ever sold? Because all around the world, something strange is happening. Millions of people are earning more money than their parents ever imagined. Yet they're drowning in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, constantly anxious about money, working longer hours than ever before, waiting for a financial freedom that never seems to arrive. If higher salaries create wealth, why are so many high earners still financially trapped? Tonight, we're going to investigate one of the biggest financial mysteries of modern life. Not why poor people struggle, but why successful people stay stuck. Meet Daniel. Daniel earns about $60,000 a year. He drives a reliable used car, lives in a modest home, avoids buying things simply to impress people. His social media isn't filled with luxury vacations or designer brands. From the outside, Daniel looks ordinary. Now meet Michael. Michael earns more than 4 times Daniel's income. His driveway holds a luxury SUV. He lives in a beautiful house. His wardrobe is filled with premium brands. Every year, he travels to destinations most people only dream about. By almost every visible measure, Michael appears wealthy. So let me ask you something. If both men stopped working today, who do you think would remain financially secure the longest? Most people would answer Michael without hesitation. After all, he earns far more. But here's what you don't see. Michael's house comes with an enormous mortgage. His luxury SUV is financed. His credit cards carry balances that grow every month. Every promotion brought a larger lifestyle, not greater freedom. His salary became the engine powering increasingly expensive obligations. Daniel made different choices. Instead of upgrading every time his income increased, he quietly bought productive assets. He invested consistently, kept his expenses under control, allowed time and compounding to do the heavy lifting. Years later, Daniel's investments produce income even while he sleeps. Michael still depends on the next paycheck arriving on time. One looks rich, the other is becoming wealthy. And those are not the same thing. This difference reveals something our culture rarely talks about. Many people don't escape financial pressure by earning more. They simply upgrade the size of the pressure. It's like decorating the walls of a prison cell. The room becomes more comfortable, more beautiful, even more expensive, but you're still inside. That's why, throughout this documentary, we'll use one simple metaphor: the golden cage. A cage built with higher salaries, luxury lifestyles, status, endless upgrades, and the belief that more income automatically means more freedom. From the outside, it's covered in gold. People admire it, some even envy it. But inside, the door remains locked. The frightening part is that many people spend decades building that cage, without realizing they're the ones trapped inside it. Behavioral finance researchers have spent decades studying this paradox. One recurring finding is that financial outcomes are influenced not only by how much people earn, but also by how they make decisions about spending, saving, and investing. Writers such as Morgan Housel have popularized this idea, arguing that wealth is shaped as much by behavior as by income or intelligence. That raises a difficult question. If behavior matters more than salary, then perhaps we've been asking the wrong question all along. Maybe the goal was never simply to earn more. Maybe it was to build a life where money gradually works harder than you do. Over the next few minutes, we're going to uncover why high salaries often create invisible financial traps, why intelligent people repeatedly mistake income for wealth, how status quietly steals future freedom, and why some people earning average incomes quietly become millionaires while others earning several times as much remain financially fragile. Because by the end of this documentary, you may never look at a paycheck the same way again. At the beginning of this documentary, we asked a question that seems almost impossible. How can someone earning hundreds of thousands of dollars still feel financially trapped, while someone earning a fraction of that quietly builds lasting wealth? To answer it, we have to challenge one of the oldest beliefs about money, a belief repeated so often that most people never stop to question it. The belief that income equals wealth. From the moment we enter school, life is presented like a ladder. Study hard, get good grades, find a stable career, earn a higher salary, and eventually, you'll become financially successful. On the surface, it sounds perfectly logical. After all, if you earn more money than someone else, shouldn't you naturally become wealthier? But reality tells a very different story. Every year, there are doctors living paycheck to paycheck, professional athletes who go bankrupt within years of retirement, lottery winners who lose millions, corporate executives drowning in debt. At the same time, there are teachers, engineers, small business owners, and ordinary employees who quietly become millionaires. The difference isn't always how much they earn. It's how they think about what they earn. This is where one of the biggest misconceptions about money begins. A salary is not wealth. A salary is income. Income is money flowing into your life. Wealth is what remains after your decisions have been made. Imagine two buckets. One bucket represents everything you earn. The other represents everything you keep and grow. Most people spend their lives trying to make the first bucket bigger, while almost completely ignoring the second. They celebrate promotions, negotiate raises, switch companies for higher pay, but rarely ask a more important question. How much of this money will still belong to me 10 years from now? Because earning money and keeping money are two completely different skills. Financial writer Morgan Housel has often argued that wealth is what you don't see. The luxury car parked outside a restaurant is visible. The investment portfolio quietly compounding in the background isn't. The designer clothes, the expensive vacations, the dream home, those are easy to notice. But the assets generating passive income, the emergency fund, the disciplined investing, the freedom to say no to work, those usually remain invisible. That's why people often confuse the appearance of wealth with wealth itself. Let's return to Daniel and Michael. Every month, Michael receives a much larger paycheck, but almost every extra dollar already has somewhere to go. Mortgage payments, car finance, insurance, luxury subscriptions, private school fees, dining out, weekend trips, monthly repayments. By the time the month ends, very little remains. Daniel's paycheck is much smaller, but before he spends it, he pays something else first: his future. Every month, a portion quietly buys investments, assets, ownership. His lifestyle grows slowly. His investments grow steadily. One man spends a salary. The other converts his salary into wealth. At first, the difference is almost invisible. 5 years later, it becomes difficult to ignore. This idea becomes even more powerful when you understand one simple truth. A high salary can create an illusion of safety. You begin believing that because money arrives every month, it always will. You feel comfortable taking on larger financial commitments. A bigger mortgage suddenly seems reasonable. A luxury vehicle feels affordable. Expensive habits become normal. Not because you become wealthy, but because your future income has already been mentally spent. Without realizing it, tomorrow's paycheck has been promised to yesterday's decisions. This is why many high earners become trapped. Not because they lack intelligence, not because they lack ambition, but because a growing income quietly encourages a growing lifestyle. And once your lifestyle expands to match your salary, Every raise stops increasing your freedom. It simply increases the cost of maintaining your life. The cage becomes larger, the bars become gold, but the door remains locked. So if a higher salary isn't the real problem, what is? The answer lies in a psychological force so powerful that it affects almost everyone. A force that convinces us that every increase in income deserves an equal increase in lifestyle. Psychologists call it hedonic adaptation. Most people know it by another name, lifestyle inflation, and it may be the single biggest reason high salaries fail to create lasting wealth. At the end of the last chapter, we discovered that a higher salary doesn't automatically create wealth. Instead, it often creates something far more dangerous, a more expensive life. But that raises an important question. If earning more money should improve our financial future, why do so many people end up spending almost every extra dollar they make? The answer isn't found in your bank account. It's found in your brain. Imagine you've been driving the same reliable car for 8 years. It starts every morning, gets you safely to work, costs very little to maintain. Then one day, you receive a significant promotion. Suddenly, the car you've been perfectly happy with no longer feels good enough. Not because it stopped working, but because your identity has changed. You begin browsing luxury dealerships, watching car reviews online, imagining how successful you'll look behind the wheel of something newer. Within weeks, the old car feels outdated, not because it changed, but because you did. The raise didn't just increase your income, it quietly increased your expectations. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. It's our remarkable ability to quickly become accustomed to improvements in life. That new car excites you for a while. The dream apartment feels incredible for a few months. The expensive watch, the designer handbag, the first-class flight, the luxury vacation, each one delivers a burst of excitement. But eventually, they all become normal. And once something becomes normal, your mind begins searching for the next upgrade. It's like climbing a staircase where every step disappears the moment you stand on it. No matter how high you climb, you never feel like you've truly arrived. Behavioral economist Daniel Kahneman spent decades studying how people make decisions. His work showed that our brains don't evaluate wealth in absolute terms as much as they evaluate change. The excitement doesn't come from owning something. It comes from acquiring something new. Once the novelty fades, the emotional reward fades with it. That's why yesterday's dream often becomes today's ordinary and tomorrow's desire. Companies understand this better than most people realize. Luxury brands don't simply sell products. They sell transformation. A watch becomes a symbol of success. A car becomes proof that you've made it. A larger house becomes evidence that you're moving up in life. The purchase isn't really about transportation, or timekeeping, or extra bedrooms. It's about identity. It's about belonging. It's about telling yourself and everyone else a story. I've succeeded. And when identity becomes attached to consumption, spending becomes emotional rather than rational. Now return to Michael. Every promotion brought more money, but also brought a subtle pressure. His colleagues upgraded their homes. He upgraded his. Friends bought luxury SUVs. He bought one too. Business trips became opportunities for expensive hotels. Vacations became opportunities for even more expensive ones. None of these decisions seemed irresponsible on their own. Each one felt deserved, reasonable, even expected. But together, they quietly transformed every pay raise into a permanent monthly obligation. Without realizing it, Michael wasn't buying freedom. He was buying maintenance. Daniel experienced raises too, but he viewed them differently. When his income increased, his lifestyle barely changed. Instead, the extra money quietly flowed into investments, index funds, business opportunities, retirement accounts, assets that could one day generate income on their own. To outsiders, nothing appeared different, but beneath the surface, His financial foundation was becoming stronger every single month. One man's raise disappeared into consumption. The other's disappeared into ownership. Years later, only one of them had built freedom. This is one of the greatest financial paradoxes. The more your lifestyle depends on your salary, the less freedom your salary actually gives you. Because every new financial commitment demands one thing: more future work. A larger mortgage requires years of future income. An expensive car requires years of future payments. Luxury habits require years of future salaries. Eventually, your income no longer belongs to you. It belongs to the life you've built around it. The golden cage doesn't lock overnight. It closes one monthly payment at a time. Perhaps that's why some of the wealthiest people in the world continue living far below what they can afford. Not because they can't spend more, but because they understand something many people never discover. Every dollar you don't spend today has the potential to become an employee working for you tomorrow. The choice isn't simply between spending and saving. It's between temporary comfort and future freedom. But lifestyle inflation isn't the only invisible force working against us. Even after escaping the temptation to constantly upgrade, there's another psychological trap waiting. One that convinces us to buy things, not because we need them, but because we want other people to believe we've succeeded. And that may be the most expensive purchase of all. At the end of the last chapter, we uncovered one of the biggest traps facing high earners: lifestyle inflation, the tendency to spend more simply because we earn more. But beneath that behavior, there's an even deeper force at work, one that has almost nothing to do with money and everything to do with human nature. Because here's the uncomfortable truth: most people don't buy expensive things because they need them. They buy them because they want them to mean something. Imagine two neighbors. Both earn the same salary. Both drive reliable cars. Both own comfortable homes. Financially, they're almost identical. Then one neighbor buys a brand new luxury SUV. Suddenly, the other begins questioning his own car. It still runs perfectly. Nothing about it has changed. Yet somehow, it no longer feels good enough. What changed wasn't the car. It was the comparison. Thousands of years ago, our ancestors depended on belonging to a tribe. Being accepted meant safety. Being excluded often meant death. Although the modern world looks very different, our brains still carry many of those ancient instincts. Today, instead of competing for survival, we compete for status. The symbols have changed. The psychology hasn't. Economist Thorstein Veblen observed this more than a century ago. He described a behavior now known as conspicuous consumption. The idea that people often buy expensive goods, not primarily for their usefulness, but to signal success, wealth, or social position. In other words, some purchases are less about solving problems and more about sending messages. The watch says, "I'm successful." The luxury car says, "I've made it." The designer clothes say, "I belong." The purchase becomes a conversation, without a single word being spoken. Modern advertising understands this psychology exceptionally well. Think about the last luxury commercial you watched. Did it focus on technical specifications, monthly maintenance costs, fuel efficiency? Rarely. Instead, it showed freedom, confidence, admiration, beautiful homes, exclusive events, successful people. Because companies know something incredibly powerful. People rarely buy products. They buy identities. The product simply becomes the ticket. Daniel Kahneman's research into decision-making revealed that people often rely on quick, intuitive judgments before slower, more deliberate reasoning takes over. That means many financial decisions begin emotionally, long before they're justified logically. We don't always say, "I want this because I want to impress people." Instead, we tell ourselves, "I deserve it. It'll motivate me. It's an investment. I worked hard." Sometimes those reasons are true, Sometimes, they're simply stories our minds create after the emotional decision has already been made. Let's return to Michael. His first luxury watch wasn't purchased because he needed to know the time. His phone already did that. His luxury SUV wasn't dramatically better at reaching the office. It simply looked different in the company parking lot. Each purchase felt reasonable in isolation. But together, they created something unexpected, a lifestyle that constantly needed protecting. Now, maintaining the appearance of success became almost as important as achieving it. The higher he climbed, the more expensive it became to remain where he was. Daniel faced the same temptations. He admired beautiful cars, luxury hotels, designer brands. He wasn't immune. But before making major purchases, he developed a habit. He asked himself one simple question: am I buying this to improve my life or to improve someone else's opinion of me? That question didn't stop every purchase, but it stopped many unnecessary ones. Over time, those decisions quietly accumulated into something far more valuable than status: ownership. This is exactly what researcher Thomas Stanley discovered while studying America's millionaires. In The Millionaire Next Door, he found that many genuinely wealthy people didn't fit the stereotype portrayed in movies or advertisements. They often lived in ordinary neighborhoods, drove practical cars, avoided unnecessary displays of wealth, not because they lacked money, but because they understood something profound. Every dollar spent proving you're wealthy is one less dollar available to actually become wealthy. That doesn't mean buying something nice is wrong. Money should improve your life. It should create comfort, experiences, security, joy. The problem begins when purchases are driven primarily by comparison instead of purpose. Because comparison has no finish line, there will always be a bigger house, a newer car, a more exclusive vacation, a more expensive watch. If your definition of success depends on staying ahead of everyone else, you'll spend your entire life chasing a horizon that keeps moving. Perhaps that's why genuine wealth is often surprisingly quiet. It doesn't need constant validation. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't need strangers to recognize it. Real wealth isn't measured by how many people admire your lifestyle. It's measured by how much control you have over your own time. And that brings us to an even bigger discovery. Because while status quietly influences our spending, there's another force shaping our financial lives. One that most people never notice. A system that rewards ownership far more than labor. And until you understand that system, you may continue working harder without ever becoming truly free. At the end of the last chapter, we discovered that one of the greatest threats to wealth isn't poverty. It's the pursuit of status. The desire to appear successful often becomes more expensive than success itself. But what if that's only part of the story? What if even after escaping lifestyle inflation, even after resisting status, there was still something working against you? Not a conspiracy, not a secret society, but a system. A system that quietly rewards one behavior while encouraging another. To understand it, let's return to a question we've been asking since the beginning. Why do some people work harder every year, yet never seem to move any closer to financial freedom? Imagine two people. One spends 40 years selling time. The other spends 40 years buying ownership. Both work hard. Both make sacrifices. Both wake up early. But only one eventually reaches a point where money continues arriving. Even when work stops, the difference isn't effort. It's the vehicle they chose. Since childhood, most of us have been taught to think about money in one direction. Work, earn, spend, repeat. The cycle feels normal because almost everyone around us is doing the same thing. Graduate, find a good job, climb the corporate ladder, earn a higher salary, retire someday. There is nothing inherently wrong with honest work. In fact, work is where wealth often begins. But for many people, It never becomes anything more than that. The paycheck arrives, bills are paid, a little is saved, then the cycle starts again, month after month, year after year, decade after decade. Without realizing it, they build a machine that only produces money when they are physically present. Investor Warren Buffett has often reminded people that if you don't find a way to earn money while you sleep, you may spend your entire life working. The point isn't that everyone should quit their job. The point is that income from labor has limits. There are only so many hours in a day, only so many weekends you can sacrifice, only so many years your body can continue working at the same pace. Time is finite, which means income based entirely on time is also limited. Now imagine a different path. Instead of using every raise to increase consumption, you gradually purchase ownership, a small investment, a share in a productive business, an index fund, a rental property, a business you build, a book that continues earning royalties, intellectual property, digital products, assets that continue producing value, whether you're actively working or not. At first, the difference appears insignificant. The income is small, sometimes almost invisible, but something remarkable begins to happen. Instead of every dollar depending on your next working hour, some dollars begin generating new dollars. Then those dollars generate even more. Slowly, almost silently, work begins transforming into ownership. Charlie Munger frequently emphasized the importance of patience and long-term thinking. Many people underestimate what consistent, disciplined decisions can produce over decades because the results seem disappointingly small in the beginning. Compounding rarely announces itself. It whispers. During the first few years, progress feels painfully slow. Then something changes. The returns begin generating returns. The assets begin buying more assets. Momentum replaces effort. What once required constant work starts requiring thoughtful management instead. Let's return to Daniel. His colleagues often questioned his decisions. Why are you still driving that old car? You can afford something much better. Why don't you upgrade your house? For a moment, Daniel wondered if they were right. Maybe he was being too cautious. Maybe he should enjoy life more. But every time he considered spending more, he asked himself another question. Will this purchase make me look wealthier or become wealthier? That one question quietly shaped his future, because every dollar he directed toward ownership was another employee added to his financial team. Not an employee who called in sick or asked for a raise, but one that worked every hour of every day. Michael asked a different question. Can I afford the monthly payment? It seemed reasonable. After all, his salary covered it. But each payment reduced his ability to invest, reduced his flexibility, reduced his future options. Without intending to, he exchanged ownership for obligations, assets for appearances, freedom for maintenance. The higher his income climbed, the more expensive it became simply to stand still. Perhaps that's why the wealthiest individuals often think differently about money. They don't see dollars merely as something to spend. They see dollars as workers. Each dollar has a choice. It can leave forever through consumption, or it can be sent out to earn more dollars on its behalf. Over time, that difference becomes extraordinary, not because one person earned dramatically more, but because one person built an army, while the other built a lifestyle. This is the hidden truth beneath the financial system. It doesn't primarily reward the person who works the hardest. It rewards the person who gradually owns more productive assets. That doesn't happen overnight. It requires discipline, patience, and the willingness to delay immediate gratification for future freedom. But once you understand this principle, you stop measuring success by the size of your paycheck. You begin measuring it by something far more important. How much of your income arrives without requiring your time? And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. Because understanding ownership is one thing. Living it is something entirely different. So how do ordinary people escape the golden cage? Without winning the lottery, starting a billion-dollar company, or earning an extraordinary salary, The answer isn't found in dramatic changes. It's found in small decisions, repeated consistently over time. And those decisions separate people who merely earn money from those who eventually achieve financial freedom. At the beginning of this documentary, we introduced two men, Michael, the high earner, and Daniel, the quiet investor. At first, the difference between them seemed to be income, and we discovered it wasn't. Next, we thought it was spending, but that wasn't the complete answer either. Then we uncovered the invisible forces shaping their decisions. Lifestyle inflation, status, the difference between labor and ownership. But none of those ideas answer the biggest question. How do ordinary people actually escape the golden cage? Because understanding the trap isn't the same as escaping it. Most people believe financial freedom arrives through one extraordinary event. The perfect investment, a lottery ticket, a massive promotion, a successful startup, an unexpected inheritance. They're waiting for life to change overnight. But history tells a different story. When researchers studied people who quietly accumulated significant wealth over decades, they found something surprisingly ordinary. They weren't making spectacular decisions. They were making consistent ones. Investor Charlie Munger often emphasized the power of avoiding big mistakes rather than chasing extraordinary wins. That idea sounds almost too simple. But think about it. Imagine two people earning exactly the same income for 30 years. One spends every raise. The other invests every raise. Neither becomes rich overnight. Neither discovers a secret investment. Neither predicts the stock market. Yet by the end of those 3 decades, their financial lives barely resemble each other. One still depends on every paycheck. The other has built options. And options are another word for freedom. This is one of the most overlooked truths about wealth. Freedom isn't created in dramatic moments. It's created through ordinary decisions, repeated consistently. Every month, you choose ownership over consumption. You're casting a vote for your future. Every unnecessary purchase you avoid creates room for an investment. Every investment creates another opportunity for compounding. The process feels almost invisible until one day it isn't. Let's return to Daniel. His friends often believed he was being overly cautious. They couldn't understand why he didn't reward himself after every promotion, why he continued investing, why he avoided unnecessary debt. What they didn't realize was that Daniel wasn't sacrificing enjoyment. He was purchasing choices. Every investment bought him a little more control over tomorrow. The freedom to leave a job he no longer enjoyed. The ability to support his family during difficult seasons. The confidence that an unexpected emergency wouldn't destroy years of progress. He wasn't just building wealth. He was reducing dependence. Michael, without intending to, was doing the opposite. Every financial commitment reduced his flexibility. The luxury SUV required another year of payments. The larger mortgage demanded another promotion. The expensive lifestyle required continued high income. Nothing catastrophic happened. There was no dramatic collapse, just a gradual loss of options. Because the greatest financial risk isn't always losing money. Sometimes, it's reaching a point where you can't afford to stop earning it. Financial writer Morgan Housel has repeatedly argued that one of the highest forms of wealth is control over your own time. That idea changes everything, because suddenly, success isn't measured by your salary, or your job title, or your possessions. It's measured by your independence. Can you take time off without panic? Can you change careers if your values change? Can you spend meaningful time with your family without constantly worrying about money? Can you say no to opportunities that don't align with your life? Those questions reveal something a paycheck never can. The wealthy often think differently about raises. Instead of asking, "What can I buy?" they ask, What can this money buy for my future? Perhaps it's an investment. Perhaps it's learning a valuable skill. Perhaps it's building a business. Perhaps it's purchasing an asset that continues generating income long after today's paycheck has been spent. Every raise becomes another opportunity, not to increase consumption, but to increase freedom. Imagine standing at a crossroads. One path offers immediate comfort. The other offers delayed freedom. The first path feels exciting. The second often feels ordinary. That's why so few people choose it, because compounding is difficult to appreciate while it's happening. The early years demand faith, patience, consistency, but eventually, time begins rewarding those quiet decisions. What once seemed insignificant becomes life-changing. Daniel didn't become financially independent because he earned the highest salary. He became financially independent because he stopped treating every paycheck as permission to spend. Instead, he treated every paycheck as an opportunity to acquire another small piece of ownership, another asset, another source of future income, another step toward freedom. And slowly, the golden cage lost its power, not because someone unlocked the door for him, but because he stopped building the cage in the first place. So, if escaping the trap isn't about earning more, what practical principles can anyone begin applying today? Not theories, not motivational slogans, but timeless principles that quietly separate people who build wealth from people who only build expensive lifestyles. That's where we turn next, because understanding the psychology is only the beginning. Living it is where transformation truly begins. At the beginning of this documentary, we believed the biggest financial advantage was earning more money. But after everything we've uncovered, we now know that isn't true. A high salary can certainly improve your life, but only if it becomes a tool, not a trap. Throughout this documentary, Daniel and Michael made very different choices. One treated every raise as permission to spend more. The other treated every raise as an opportunity to own more. One built a lifestyle, the other built freedom. And that's the decision every one of us faces. Every paycheck is a crossroads. One path leads toward immediate comfort. The other leads toward long-term freedom. The difference rarely comes down to intelligence, or luck, or even income. It comes down to the habits we repeat, long after the excitement of a promotion has faded. Because wealth isn't created by one extraordinary decision. It's created by ordinary decisions, made consistently over time. The golden cage isn't built overnight, and neither is financial freedom. Both are constructed, one choice at a time. At the beginning of this documentary, we asked a simple question. Why do some people earning extraordinary salaries remain financially trapped, while others earning far less quietly become wealthy? The answer was never hidden in the size of paycheck. It was hidden in what happened after the paycheck arrived. We discovered that lifestyle inflation quietly steals tomorrow to satisfy today. That status often costs more than it's worth. That ownership quietly outperforms consumption. And that true wealth isn't measured by what people see, but by the freedom they don't. Your salary determines how much money enters your life, but your decisions determine whether that money becomes a passing visitor or a lifelong partner. Because in the end, the goal isn't to earn the highest income. The goal is to build a life where your time no longer depends entirely on it. A bigger paycheck can buy a bigger house, a better car, a more comfortable life, but only wise decisions can buy freedom. And freedom has always been the greatest form of wealth. If this documentary changed the way you think about money, don't let it end here. Subscribe to the Wealth Lab, where we uncover the hidden psychology behind wealth, financial freedom, and the decisions that separate those who merely earn money from those who build lasting prosperity. And if someone in your life believes that a bigger salary is the answer to every financial problem, share this documentary with them. Because sometimes, one new perspective can change a financial future forever. Until the next documentary, remember this. Don't just work for money. Teach your money to work for you.